Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know, shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know, I'm shooting straight from the hip.
Baby, whoo, hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, honey, and it has been a time. Ooh, I can't even begin to tell y'all. AT&T, y'all suck. But anyway, if this is your first time joining me, and I really hope it's not, I am like super late because I've had some major connectivity issues over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I won't bore you with the details, but I think I finally worked it out. Anywho, thank you for joining me for this super, super late broadcast of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. If this is your first time joining me, please give me a big thumbs up down below if you're on YouTube. If you're on the other channels on Twitter or on Facebook Live, I think it is, and LinkedIn, just say hi to your girl. I'll say hi back. And subscribe to the channel because you never who you might see here at the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I'll keep this sweet and short because it's super, super late. I usually tell y'all what I did the week before. I'll save that for tomorrow because I'm going to do a double header. So I'm going to do this one tonight, and then I'll do another one tomorrow night, and then I'll just catch you up on all the awards and everything then. But I'm just going to keep this one sweet and short and to the point. So today I have an interview with the cast of Sharper. It stars Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan, Justice Smith, Brianna Middleton, and a brief little cameo from John Lithgow. And then I'm going to talk about a few movies, Bruiser, Magic Mike's Last Dance, because I didn't get a chance to talk about that. What else am I going to talk about? Bruiser, Magic Mike's Last Dance, Your Place or Mine, and I'm trying to find it. There we go. Yeah, I'll talk about those three. Oh, and Emily. And then tomorrow I'll have the cast of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then I will. No, I'm going to talk about Emily tomorrow. So tomorrow I have the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'll have the cast of Bel-Air, and I will talk about the 25th anniversary of Titanic and Emily, which is directed by Frances O'Connor, which is dropping. Ironically, I just think it dropped a couple of days ago. So I'll talk about that then. But I want to come back and let y'all know that. Let me come back here. So yeah, so that's what we have for then. I also want to remind had now it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And if you don't know who Kelly Carter is, there she is, there, producer and podcaster extraordinaire. All right, so let's get to the interview. I did an interview with Benjamin. Oh my goodness. Benjamin. Benjamin. Oh my goodness. You messed me up. I was just talking in the holding room. This film messed me up. I love my thriller and my suspense films, but this one had my jaw dropped to my crack. I said, what is going on? I was like, wait, no, no. I was a hot buttered mess. But what I really want to talk to you about is the music, because the music was like its own little character within itself. And there was a lot of jazz. And what I loved about you using the jazz music when it was used is that there's an angst and a sexiness and a kind of relaxed chillness that goes along with the jazz music. And all of that encompasses what's happening in this film, as well as the sections of New York that it was all taking place in. So I just want to talk to you about why you made the choices of music that you did, and particularly the jazz pieces.
Well, I mean, thank you for saying all of those lovely things, by the way. I'm really glad I got to mess with your head. That makes me very proud.
Oh my God, you totally did.
I mean, I guess, do you mean you want to talk about the sort of source tracks, the needle drops, or you're talking about the score more, the needle drops?
Both, actually.
Okay, both.
The needle drops and the score.
Well, I mean, thank you for saying all of those lovely things, by the way. I'm really glad I got to mess with your head. That makes me very proud.
Oh my God, you totally did.
Good. I mean, I guess, do you mean you want to talk about the sort of source tracks, the needle drops, or you're talking about the score more, the needle drops?
Both, actually.
Okay, both. All right.
The needle drops and the score.
Okay. Well, I guess in terms of the score, I was really fortunate enough to work with Clint Mansell, who I think really, I remember watching Pi or Requiem and being blown away with how, you know, music and film could work together. He completely changed the rules in my mind. So he was the first and only person I went to, and he said yes, which was extraordinary. And he kind of understood Sharper, and he understands sort of how lonely and broken these characters were, and how he could kind of imbue a kind of feeling and a tone to get across, get across the story. Specifically, you know, I love how he sort of plays around with some of those sort of synth sounds, and, you know, he sort of brings in a piano, and occasionally gets out the guitar, and it's like he's just a lovely human being, Clint, and his music is so, I find, really existential. It really sort of digs deep into the kind of core. But what was really clear with a film that played around with perspective in the movie, I needed the score to be coherent throughout. So in many ways, it started with Sandra in a way, and the score and the themes throughout that film were kind of anchored around Sandra. There's that beautiful piece of music he creates at the end of Act 1. You know, we don't hear score until like 17, 18 minutes in, and that's like a deliberate choice. And I remember first hearing that piece of music from him, and I remember crying. I remember sitting in the cutting room and crying because I felt moved by that character and what had happened to him at that moment, how devastating this sort of huge dramatic moment that happened in the film, and I think he just nailed it. So that's Clint. In terms of the needle drops, I remember talking. So Simon Astor was the music supervisor on the film, and you know, I loved his work from Big Little Lies, from the Come On, you know, the A24 film, and I was really. We spoke a lot about this film feeling timeless, and how, you know, it can't just all be modern tracks, and what was the soundscape of sort of New York in this sort of neo-noir kind of thrillery world, and yeah, could we lean into the sort of jazzy sounds of New York? So you know, we kick things off with Irma, you know, in that lovely sort of sexy sort of jazzy sounds that come into the bookshop, and we find Tom, he's hidden away, he's hiding in the not real, he's literally in the world of fiction, and then it's a classic boy meets girl, and then in walks Sandra, and you know, and it's sort of just that soundscape just fitted for that kind of opening chapter. And then we go, is this good? Shall I just keep talking about the music, or?
I'm actually out of time. I was going to ask you another question, but I don't have time to ask you another question.
Oh, no,
but honestly, this is what I really, after watching it, this is what I really, really, really wanted to know. So I'm thanking you so much for giving me such a thorough answer to that. And we'll talk again, but I just got to tell you, you messed me up. I was all about it, and I cannot wait for people to see Sharper.
By the way, you can ask one more question. I mean, I think, look, you just set me. I would talk about musicals. I mean, we've got like Irma, we've got Curtis, we've got you know, Talking Heads, we've got Don Henley, and then we finished with Nina Simone. I mean, what a great soundtrack. I mean, I was listening to this morning, and I was like, I would listen to that soundtrack. But anyway, you've got one more question, by the way. You're okay. They've said we've got time.
I said, oh, I can have another. Okay, so let me ask you this other question too. about why you set up the film the way you did, because you set it up like it was going to be like this romantic journey, and then it wasn't.
Well, I think the deception is a defining feature of this movie. So why not deceive the audience with the opening of the movie? Why not, why not start the movie believing that you're in a sort of Richard Curtis romantic comedy, where we're in a sort of traditional boy meets girl, girl meets boy, they fall in love. And so I just think the sort of that excites me as a filmmaker, to sort of take the audience down one way and then twist and reverse them in a completely different direction.
It excited me too. Listen, I was all about it. I really was. I can't say enough about it.
Aww.
Benjamin, thank you so much for giving me some time and a little extra time to boot to ask that second question. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for people to see this film. It's really quite special.
Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course. You're welcome. Talk to you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
It excited me too. Listen, I was all about it. I really was. Baby, I'm telling you, the technical gremlins are coming for me. They're coming for me. They're trying to make me crazy. But anyway, that was Benjamin Caron, the director of Sharper. If you guys can hear me and this is coming through clear, please drop something in the chat and let me know, because I can't tell, or hit me up on Twitter and let me know, because I looked at it briefly while that interview was running and it was glitching all over the place. So anyway, let me get back to the broadcast, shall we? So this next interview is with Brianna Middleton and Justice Smith, who play two lovely characters in this film. And then I'll tell you more about the film when I get finished with these interviews, because I'm not trying to hold y'all here all night, okay? So this is my interview with, let me find it, with Brianna and Justice. Here we go. Hi, Brianna and Justice. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I saw y'all cutting it up before I said my name. It's all good. I saw you before I said Carla Renata, the Curvy Critic. Y'all like, oh, okay, now we got to be serious. You ain't got to be serious with me. You do not have to be serious with me. Let me just tell y'all, you do not. You can be as goofy and corny as you want to be, because I'm truly going to be that. But let me just tell y'all, I watched this and I lost my black mind, because I was like, I told Benjamin, I told your other co-stars, I watched this and my jaw dropped to my crack. I'm like, what is happening right now? What is happening?
Yes.
I don't understand what's happening, because the way y'all set me up in the beginning, I thought, okay, this is gonna be cute, and then I was like, all right. So y'all trying to mess with a sister. It's all good.
Yeah.
But having said all of that, all of the characters, all four of you guys have an incredibly insane amount of confidence in each lane that you're navigating in, right? So if confidence was currency, how much would Tom and Sandra be worth?
That's so good.
I actually feel like out of the four, Tom is the least confident, or at least the least stable. I think he's confident in his own, hatred of where he comes from and the echelon that he was born into. Like, he has a real, confidence against this kind of this fiscal system, this capitalistic greed. But I think within himself, he doesn't really have a lot of confidence. So how much money would that be? $100?
Oh, you got to give Tom more worth than $100. Come on, Brianna. I know you can do better than that.
I think Sandra is in confidence. I think above Tom, but not much, not a lot. I think if yours is 100, I would say I'll give her 2,000.
Yeah,
we'll say 2,000.
Yeah,
we'll say 2,000.
Oh, y'all got to value your character.
Yeah, what is the highest number?
We need a
infinity, baby.
Oh, yeah, amen.
Yeah,
infinity, baby.
Yeah.
And if you had to curate a playlist for each one of them, because the music is really kind of wild and intrinsic to the whole New York scheme that you all are navigating in. So if you had to choose a playlist for Tom and Sandra, what would that consist of?
I did make a playlist, and it consists of Sade, Lauryn Hill, Tank and the Bangas, Nina Simone, a little bit of Tracy Chapman.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I used to sing with Tracy Chapman. That's so funny that
You're
would choose
lying.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
God.
I was her one and only background singer, but this ain't about me. It's about you. Come on.
That's amazing.
That's so.
For Tom, I mean, it would probably just be a bunch of audiobooks. He's so immersed in the world of narrative, and he really is trying to escape his own reality through books. And so I think that it would be any sort of audiobook or podcast that kind of allowed him to escape his situation.
Okay, I could get with that.
Yeah, not you being like, that's a cop-out answer.
I'm like, I could get with that. That's okay. But and last but not least, since this is like a thriller suspense kind of thing that kind of starts out like a little film noir, a little black film noir situation, and it ends up more in the lane of To Catch a Thief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would your favorite thriller and suspense movie be that you just, every time you hear about it, you just love it, and it just, makes you all tingly?
Yeah. Which movie?
You said we were talking about Parasite earlier, and I'll say.
Oh, Parasite is so good.
Parasite.
Parasite is incredible.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that. You have to say something else.
No, I said it first.
Okay, Parasite.
Yeah.
I'll say that too.
Parasite.
Y'all both are both gonna go with Parasite. Okay.
Yeah, we are. Wow, we're not doing well, are we? Easily. Come on.
And last but not least, what drew you to these? Because I know if I saw these characters in a script, I would want to do them because it would scare me, because it would take me out of my comfort zone to portray these people that in their own each individual way are very vulnerable to a certain extent, like scary vulnerable, to the place where as an actor, I don't think you really want to go there for fear of not being able to come back for a minute.
Wow. Yeah, no, that was definitely there. My connection to Sandra, there were plenty of aspects of playing her that I was really scared about, tapping into some of her emotional depths, but also if I could even pull it off, some of the places that she has to go and the twists and turns. But ultimately, yeah, it's what you're saying. It's an excitement too, as an actor, getting to really dig into something like that.
I just respect that you understand that is collateral damage that happens when being an actor, is that sometimes there are roles or moments that really stick with you. Like, even if you are the most detached, like anti-method actor, it's scientifically proven that if you smile a lot, it releases endorphins in your brain. So why wouldn't it, that if you're in a constant state of, chaos or tragedy, wouldn't it affect you the same way, And a lot of people don't understand that. So I really respect that wording, because, it can be very vulnerable to play characters like this. I mean, you more than
you.
me.
I mean, no, you as well.
No, I think you both equally have had some moments, because Tom was always in a place where he was always just right on the edge, and you didn't know if he was going to go there or if he was just going to stay calm. And you could the way you portrayed him, it was all in your physicality. It was in your eyes. It was in every fiber of your being, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And the same thing goes for you, Brianna. You could just see it. You know what I mean? I personally appreciated that from both of you. I really did. And Brianna, when I looked at you, I kept thinking, you remind me so much, and you probably get this all the time, you remind me so much of Gugu and Batara.
Hey,
Gugu and Bata.
I'm not, that is a compliment. I love her.
I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah. Well, you guys, that is my time, but I enjoyed our little convo, and I'm looking forward to seeing many more things from you guys coming down the pipe. You guys are fabulous actors, great artists, and you did your thing in Sharper.
Thank you. Much love.
So much. Thank
you. You're welcome. See you next time. So again, that was Brianna Middleton and Justice Smith. They played Sandra and Tom in the Apple TV Plus movie Sharper, which stars Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan, those two dolls, and is directed by Benjamin Caron. So before I get to this interview with Julianne Moore, I just want to talk about these movies real quick. I want to talk about, I know that I'm super late on this one, but Magic Mike's Last Dance. I want to talk a little bit about that. Um, you know, I kind of liked it. It was released in theaters on February 20th. It had a nationwide release. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. It stars Channing Tatum and Salma Hayek. Baby, those scenes with Salma and Tatum. Let me come on camera so you can see me. Those scenes with Salma and Tatum in the first 30 minutes, they were hot and steamy and sexy and sultry, and they gonna make you want to take a shower after you see this movie. But what I will say about this movie, it's a little short on plot, but what it lacks in plot, it makes up for in the choreographed sequences. Every choreographed dance in that film is absolute butter, and it's almost like it's a newer version of the Chippendales. And there's a magic, and just a side note, there is a Magic Mike show in Vegas, I believe it is Vegas or London. I can't remember where it is, but I saw some celebrity. Was it Reese Witherspoon? I think might have been Reese Witherspoon talking about it on like the Kelly Clarkson show or something. And she was saying, I just recommend everybody go see some Magic Mike. I recommend everybody go see some Magic Mike too. Yeah, and so that's all I want to say about that one. And then this other, and so let me tell you a little bit about Sharper while I got you. So Sharper is on Apple TV Plus. It's directed by Benjamin Caron. You've already heard from him. I told you who the film is starring: Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan, Justice Smith, Brianna Middleton, with a small cameo from John Lithgow. It's been in theaters since February 10th, and it will begin streaming globally, or has begun streaming globally, on February 17th. This is the thing about this particular movie. It is a suspenseful thriller like none I haven't seen in a really long time. It's broken up into chapters by the characters, and it is just fire. I love this film so very much. Everything that I said to the talent and to the director, I meant that. Um, it deals with these four people whose all their motivations are suspect, and their expectations are turned into chaos as a con artist takes on Manhattan billionaires. It's kind of like if the grifters met is To Take a Thief. It's like if Take a Thief. If it's like if To Catch a Thief met the grifters. If you've seen either one of those movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the way they play it out, and it has an ending that you really just kind of don't see coming. So if you have an opportunity to check that out, I highly suggest that you do. Let me tell you a little bit about this other film that is coming on Hulu. It's called Bruiser. I saw this film quite a while ago, but I held back on talking about it for a minute because I really just wanted to let it sit and marinate with me for a minute. It's on Hulu. It will come on Hulu February 24th. It's directed by Miles Warren. It stars Jalen Hall, the same young man who is playing Emmett Till in the movie Till. It's also starring Trevante Rhodes and Shamir Anderson, and the only woman in the film, her name is Miss Azora. So I just want to tell you guys about this movie because it's the only time we see Black men in film a lot of times is when they are being cast in a negative light, with the exception of a few films like Moonlight by Barry Jenkins, which ironically enough, Barry Jenkins is producing this film Bruiser. I loved this film mostly because it showed the importance of it showed the importance of how a Black man needs guidance in his young life, and how when you guide a child, Black, brown, or otherwise, if you guide a child in their formative years in the wrong way, then they will go in the wrong direction as a teen, as an adult, and they're really hard pressed to make a U-turn out of that. But let me just read you what the description of it is. It says generational violence and toxic masculinity are contrasted with the role of mother, Christian values, and forgiveness in the story of 14-year-old Darius trying to find his place among his friends and family. He attends private school that's paid for by his hardworking yet stern father, played fantabulously by Shamir Anderson, um, where he is sometimes bullied. Darius is sometimes bullied. His mother strives to keep the household calm, nurturing Darius as best she can. When Darius befriends a stranger new to town, the family dynamic begins to unravel. That same stranger, who actually turns out to be somebody very integral in the story, is actually, here we go, Darius's biological father, a man with a reputation for violence. Violence brings violence, and soon Darius must reckon with the role nature and nurture play in who he is to become. When I tell you this film is beautifully poetic, the first 10 minutes of the film, there's an image. You hear this Otis Redding song being played. You see these close-ups on this cigarette. You see somebody drinking coffee, and you can just, get this is a vibe that's set up from the very beginning of the movie. I loved all the performances. Like I said, I love this Otis Redding soundtrack. I love the opening where there's 3 bodies laying on the grass. You don't know who these 3 bodies are until the film unfolds, and it starts the same way it ends the same way that it starts, but it is absolutely a beautiful film. And one of the lines in the film that struck me to my core is when one of the characters says to someone, "You got a disease in your heart and it's killing your family." You got a disease in your heart and it's killing your family. If you have a family member who is just, they wake up mad, they go to bed mad, they just go through life just angry and disappointed in themselves and everyone around them, it destroys a family unit. And for those reasons, I think Bruiser is an excellent film, and you definitely need to check it out on February 24th when it drops on Hulu. The pacing in the first half is a little slow, but when it kicks in, it kicks in. All right, so let me just reiterate what I said I wanted you to see. Please check out Sharper on Apple TV Plus. It is streaming there right now. Please check out Magic Mike's Last Dance, and check out Bruiser. One last film I want to talk to you about is this film called Your Place or Mine. Your Place or Mine stars Reese Witherspoon, and this young lady who plays Minka is freaking hilarious. But Your Place or Mine is on Netflix. It's streaming right now. It's written and directed by Aileen Brash McKenna. It's Reese Witherspoon and Ashton Kutcher. It's a corny rom-com. It is. It's corny, kind of like one of them Doors Day, Rock Hudson joints with the split screen situation happening. But which is kind of a new technique. Well, it's not a new technique. The Doris Day, Rock Hudson split screen thing happened in the 50s and the 60s, but Aline brought it back with Your Place of Mine. Loved her for that. There's nothing groundbreaking about this film. It's a really cute film. It's a nice watch, but it does ask the question, can friends be lovers or not? Can you be a lover with somebody that you're friends with? Would you rather preserve the friendship, or do you want to knock boots? Just saying, do you want to knock the boots, or do you want to, do a little something? So we don't know. But anyway, it's called Your Place or Mine, and it is streaming on Netflix. So now, last but certainly not least, let me say a couple of things. I'm going to try to consistently do this podcast on Sundays at 5:00. Sundays at 5:00. The last 3 weeks, AT&T has been a gremlin in my side with connectivity issues. Hopefully, we will get this finally and once and for all straightened out tomorrow. Hey, Brandon. I love that this is my boy. He popped in to tell me hello. I just interrupted myself with Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. I'm glad that you're doing your animation homework, and I'm sorry that you can't join me. And I just want to give these 2 people a shout out, because when I said I was having connectivity issues, John Seep and RS told me that they could hear and see me loud and clear. I so appreciate you for telling me, because I was having a nervous breakdown. So without further ado, I want to say that I will try my best to bring this to you on Sundays at 5:00. Sundays at 5:00. If I don't do it live, I will tape it ahead of time. But that's what the plan is. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a double header. So I did it tonight, and I'm going to do another podcast tomorrow where I'm going to talk to the cast of Bel Air, and I'm going to talk about the 25th anniversary of Titanic and this film Emily, which deals with Emily Dickinson, which dropped on February 17th. But now, before I get up out of here, I'm going to show you this interview with Julianne Moore and Sebastian Stan. I had the best time with them ever. You'll see. Check it out. Hi, Brianna and Justice. How y'all doing? Oops, wrong button. Oh my God. Here we go. Check it out. Hi, you guys.
Hi, how are you?
I love that Sebastian was like, I love that. Curvy film critic. That's hilarious. He's just like laughing. Okay. You guys, he's like,
I love it. I keep going.
Listen, I get the same reaction all the time. I love it too, clearly. This film had me all up in my feelings. There were so many twists and turns. My jaw was dropped to my crack. I said, oh Lord, what's going to happen next? But having said that, Julianne is a first-time producer. What's the most surprising thing you found about pulling this process off?
Oh, wow. Well, it's a little bit like Stone Soup, because we started with this script. It was just me and the writers, and you have this thing, and then you just kind of keep adding elements. And we brought in the people to finance it, then we brought in somebody to co-produce, and then we brought in a director, and then we brought in the actors, and then we brought in the production designer, and so it just keeps piling up because we started with just me and the two writers, and it's like this little tiny thing, and then it becomes massive. That's what was really surprising to me. I didn't know that we would go from that point all the way to here right now, so I'm still kind of astonished.
Well, girl, you pulled it off. I was all about everything. I really was. So I have this question for both of you. If both of these characters are super, super confident in what they're doing and trying to pull off, right? And I'm trying to skirt around it because when people watch this interview, I want them to watch the movie. I don't want me to tell them what the movie is about in this interview. Right. So if confidence was currency, how much would Max and Madeline be worth?
A lot.
Oh, yeah, a lot. It's a confidence game. Yeah.
I think that, I've been talking a lot about pleasure. Just that I think that Madeline just receives a lot of pleasure from what she does in her pursuits. Her, everything that she does kind of because it makes her feel so good. And that's what's interesting, because you think about when people kind of go toward their desires, whether they're good, bad, or whatever, they're just going toward what they want. And that can be really intriguing to watch, I think certainly with Max and Madeline.
Cool. I'll take that. And if you had to curate a playlist for either one of your characters music-wise, because the music in this seemed to coincide with the story, especially since it was such a heavy New York story and so rooted in the ground to New York. So if Madeline and Max had a playlist to curate for their characters, what kind of playlist do you think you come up with?
Well, Ben actually shared a playlist with me, at least, I don't know, earlier on of certain songs that he was listening to for our dance sequence, and a lot of those were actually songs that I love because they're from the 80s, and I love a lot of 80s music. And particularly the song that we used actually is a real favorite of mine. So I just sort of stuck to that, actually. I was like, okay, this might be part of the feeling or the vibe of this film, But then when I saw the movie, he had made all these other great musical choices, because the movie to some extent functions in chapters. And if you pay attention, it's all really curated in really specific ways, and that was so neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I'm a fan of both of you. I've seen pretty much everything both of you have done. And I noticed that you all always tackle these characters that have quite a bit of substance, but they're really complex all at the same time. Was there anything in particular for Max and Madeline that made you guys want to jump into these particular characters? Because to a certain extent, they seemed a little different than a lot of the stuff that I've seen you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was that difference for me. It was that, Madeline really stood out for me. I realized she's somebody that I hadn't played before. And I was excited by that idea, and excited that she's also someone who has a relationship with all these different characters in this is an ensemble movie, and they all have these very intricate intense relationships with one another, and I was intrigued by that too. I'm like all these great strong characters, you know, all hold their own weight. So to me, that was really the draw.
Yeah, and you know, Max seemed at first to be doing things that were, you know, good-natured, and then sort of halfway through he would go, you know, completely the opposite way, and so it was always really hard to know what was the true desire of this character. What was the real intention? Was this somebody who had been broken in a certain way that was trying to, you know, sort of get back at the world, or somebody, you know, did he come from like a really poor background and work his way to blend into this world because he wanted to break that world? Or was he always someone that actually had a rich background? You know, was he just a sociopath, or was there at least something hurt there that he was? So there were all these questions, and sometimes when I don't know the answer to some of that, like it pulls you in, and you want to go, and you kind of like you go on this journey of being a detective, you know.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for giving me your time today. These characters were so intense and vulnerable and complex and intriguing with so much substance. And this is a bucket list moment for me with both of you. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for talking to me today. I want everybody to see Sharper. I think it is such a smart film.
Thank you so much. You're so kind. I really appreciate that.
Oh, no, you'll find out as we meet each other down the road. I don't say nothing I don't mean. Okay.
I love it.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.
And I'm right. I don't say nothing that I don't mean. That is the truth. I know I've changed my hairstyle 3 times in the course of this stream. But you guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time coming here, thank you for hanging in there with me and all my connectivity issues. Thank you for hanging around for the interviews. I will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Did I say 5 o'clock? No, 4 o'clock. I'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock, where I will have the cast of Bel Air, which is streaming on Peacock. I will be talking about the 25th anniversary of Titanic. I will be talking about Emily, which dropped on 2/17. And I will also be catching you up on all of the award stuff, because we're getting down to the wire for the Oscars. So I'm going to start talking about the BAFTAs and the DGAs and the PGAs and all the other stuff that has happened since I last saw you. The SAG Awards are coming up. The AFCA Awards are coming up. There's a bunch of stuff coming up, and some of those things I will be attending. So I will bring you everything from that. But I did want to show you a couple of pictures. I always tell you at the beginning, usually what I did the week before. I didn't do a lot the week before, but watch a lot of movies, do a lot of interviews. But I did do this today. So my mother loves golf, and she loves Tiger Woods even more. So I took my mother to the Genesis Invitational in Santa Monica so that she could see Tiger Woods play golf. And I think this is the first time he's played a really big golf tournament since his accident that he had that jacked up his leg. So yeah, I just want to show you guys that. All right. So having said that, let me come back on camera so that you can see my face. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow, which is February 20th. I will see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific time. 4 o'clock Pacific time, 2:20. 4 o'clock Pacific time, 2:20. Be there, be square. All right. If you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel. I have people like Julianne Moore and Sebastian Stan. I'm just saying, your girl is hot. And give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here. If you were on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for all of those people telling me that I was live and that the connection wasn't funky. I appreciate that too. So until the next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Deuces. Keep washing them hands, people. Keep washing them hands. Folk can be nasty out in these streets. And I'll see you the next time. Bye.